I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Ho, ho, ho.
Sam Healy, welcome back.
What's this?
I don't know. That's Santa Claus when he's feeling snarky.
Thematic. When he's feeling thematic,
Funky.
then he skips the ho, ho, ho. He goes for something with a little more gravitas.
Welcome to a video in our series of games to get for other people for Christmas this year.
Other people.
We tried to pick games for these lists that are available, that are in print. Not necessarily that came out this year. They might have come out in previous years, but games you can find online. Check out Cool Stuff Games to get many of them. So we each picked 4, makes a total of 12. All right.
12 days of Christmas, 12 games of Christmas. Yeah.
And these are games that we that have like some strong theme in them.
Yes.
Might have extremely strong themes. So if you like that, hey, I like to play a game about something, here you go.
All right, my first pick is about Cthulhu, the Cthulhu mythos. In fact, this is my favorite game using this theme. Arkham Horror, the living card game. In this one, you are going to be an investigator. You are exploring different things going on in the mythos, and you'll be going to different locations, fighting monsters, cooperating possibly with other players, though you can play solitaire as well, and the whole thing is very immersive. Also, being a living card game means that it's going to stay fresh for a long time because they keep coming out with new content for the game, new adventures, new characters, new powers for you to invest in. Really fantastic and immersive Arkham Horror, the living card game.
My first pick is a game called Big Trouble in Little China. And this is by a company called Everything Epic Games, and this is the movie from the 80s on a board game. And the theme of the movie, the theme of the board game is so inherently wrapped together with the different things that you're doing. You are just simply rolling dice, but you're trying to use your character's special abilities to manipulate those dice to get them to do the right things so that you can carry out the different things. It goes in 2 stages where you're up in Chinatown, and then the second stage you're actually battling David Lopan in the depths of the earth or what have you. It's a really fun game, a little bit of a long one, but very thematic. Big Trouble in Little China.
You like NCIS, Law and Order, those kind of shows? You do not, you never watch it, but a lot of people do. Chronicles of Crime is a game that's very much like one of those. In this game, you have a person in a location trying to figure, maybe they're murdered or whatever, you're trying to figure it out. You have a forensic scientist, you got a someone who works with a hacker. You have these different people who are helping you, and you're using a phone and scanning QR codes and asking this person about that person, or asking this person about this, or searching for clues even. You look at the phone for clues. Even if you're like, I don't know if I want to get too much into my phone, into a board game, it's seamless, it works really well, it's fast, and it's all about the theme. Ooh, what happened? She killed him? And things even happen over the course of the game. You might be talked to a suspect, come back later and find that suspect was murdered. Really good game, Chronicles of Crime.
Let's visit the Greek Isles in Cyclades. In this game, you are appealing to the different deities. You are trying to control these islands and build your metropolis. You will build up several of these, in fact, and if you are able to do so before the other players, you're going to win the game, of course. The game is a bidding game at its core because as you are appealing to these different deities, if you bid the most of them, if you make the most offerings, then you get to trigger their powers, and you'll be able to march your troops and conquer and attack and possibly try to build up by different ways, nefarious ways that are not so confrontational. Maybe you want to be sneaky in the game. It's a very epic conquest, dudes on a map kind of game with some fantastic expansions as well. I definitely would recommend the Titans expansion for the game. So give it a go or buy it for someone, and if they particularly like it or you do, definitely look into getting the Titans for Cyclades. That's my second pick.
My second pick for thematic games is very similar in theme, at least, to Tom's pick of Chronicles of Crime, but this one is a little bit more abstract and makes it more of a social deduction type game. Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. Now, this one is a game where there's going to be a murderer and an accomplice, and then the rest of the people are going to be forensic scientists trying to figure out who done it. Now, there's also a witness in there who knows who the murderer and accomplice are, and but not exactly how everything happened. And they're, of course, trying to point the forensic scientists in the right direction, but not trying to be too overt there, because if you do catch the murderer and accomplice, there's always the possibility if they can pick out who the witness was, they still get away scot-free. Now, if you add in the expansion, Undercover Allies, it gives you a whole new batch of different roles that can be used through the game, and all of them enhance the experience. So I would definitely encourage you to do that if you do decide to pick up Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. But this is a great thematically instilled game, and that is Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Man, a lot of murder here. All right, my number 2 game here is The Reckoners. The Reckoners is based on a series of novels from Brandon Sanderson, where in the near future, a bunch of people get superpowers, and they all go evil. All of them. So you're a bunch of humans trying to take them out. Figuring out their weakness. Like Superman, his weakness is kryptonite. We know that. But for, this superhero, super villain, I guess, I don't know what their weakness is. So you figure out their weakness. It's a cooperative game. Beautiful production. And as you're just working together, trying to figure out these guys' weaknesses and then taking them out. It's a lot of fun. The Reckoners.
It's really simple, too.
It's hard to win. Hard. But I like it.
All right, my next pick is great for those of you who are role-playing gamers. This is called Role Player. R-O-L-L, though, in this case. And in it, you are simply rolling up a character before an adventure with your characters in, again, an RPG setting. And this one is very puzzly, and it is very thematic as well. But it's got a really unique theme, and again, I think this is going to appeal to those of you that find this activity of creating a character to take on an adventure particularly appealing. It's going to have a lot of dice, a lot of manipulation going on, but it's one that now, especially with the new expansion, with the Monsters expansion, has quite a breadth of action and activities that happen in it. I definitely would recommend it. I'm not even someone that particularly enjoys rolling up characters for RPGs, and even I find it very captivating. So definitely check this one out, Role Player.
You may be looking for a World War II themed game where it's not about just going in, guns blazing, and trying to kill as much as you possibly can. If that's the case, my next pick, V Commandos, is definitely for you. Now, the whole idea behind V Commandos is that you are a team of covert operatives sent in to accomplish a certain mission or a group of missions in a location. But you have to do so stealth-wise, because you do not want to set off the alarm, because once you do set off the alarm, everything breaks loose, and it becomes hard, goes to almost impossible. So you really want to sneak around. You want to be closed off and hidden as much as possible, and that's just a really cool thing about the game. It has great production value, great artwork, and I think it'll hit the table and you'll enjoy it very much. V Commandos.
All right, the next one for me is Wildlands. Wildlands is a game in which there's a bunch of shards of a crystal that have broken off, and you are running around trying to get them. You're a group of people, maybe a group of former pit fighters or some gnomes who are coming in. And that's the game. You run around and try to collect these. You use a card to move your people around. You use cards to pick up the gems. But there's this constant fighting. Each group has a very different feel to it. They're cool little miniatures. The dungeon looks really cool, but it's very simple and very fast and a lot of fun to play. And it scales well, and it has this nice... again, like I said, the pit fighters are great at hand-to-hand combat. There's a bunch of magicians who can hurl magic spells, but if you get close to them, they're not going to do so hot. A lot of fun. Wildlands.
My final pick is one of the quintessential zombie fighting games. This is Zombicide Black Plague. And in this one, which is a follow-up to the original Zombicide, you are in a medieval setting, and you all have, of course, weapons, and you are taking out the hordes of zombies. Following some specific mission that you are tasked with, the game is going to give you different scenarios that force you to, you know, maybe guard someone or go find and gather specific loot. Prepare for an upcoming particularly harsh winter, so store food, that sort of thing. It's a very straightforward hack and slash kind of game. If that's what you're looking for and you feel like killing some zombies, working together, Zombicide Black Plague is the one.
Let's do it.
My last pick for the thematic category is actually based from my colleague's one of his favorite games of all time. I don't know if it's still his favorite. We'll have to see that in a little while. But Pandemic Legacy Season 1 or 2. And the reason I say Season 1 or 2 is because if you haven't played Season 1, it'd be kind of strange to jump right into Season 2. You need to go back and play Season 1. And the reason I say this is because Pandemic, for me at least, apologies, is kind of a dry theme. But when the story-driven aspect that the Legacy games brings into it, that theme really comes alive, and it really becomes a vibrant theme. And that's why I have it picked for the thematic categories, because this is thematic Pandemic to a T. And if you haven't played Season 1, you need to go do that one. If you've already played Season 1 and you're waffling on Season 2, stop waffling. Just eat your waffles, get breakfast over with, go to the store and buy Season 2. Do you like
waffles? Yes, we like waffles. Okay.
Pandemic Season 1, Pandemic Legacy Season 1 or 2.
My last pick is very similar to my first one. I mentioned Chronicles of Crime, a very simple whodunit type thing. Then Detective is the very other end of the spectrum. It's another whodunit, and you're using a computer and searching up stuff on the internet and going around and finding a crime, but it's much more involved. It's a really deep story, and I can't even really talk too much about it. I don't want to spoil it for you, but you're going around and investigating murders, sometimes that have happened years ago. So you'll look up actual historical events on the internet and put those together with these and go back and forth. And it really works well in a group setting, because one guy might be the guy who's looking up website, the other guy's looking at these notes that we've gotten and keeping track, and you can go around and interrogate people, but you don't have enough time to do everything. So you got to try to hope that you've picked the right choices to go there and then put that information together. So if you want the full detective experience, get the game called Detective.
It's very thematic, extremely thematic.
Very much so, yeah.
So these are 12 thematic games we recommend. You can get most of them at Cool Stuff Games. Check them out online. And if you got some thematic games that you might want to mention, put them in the comments.
Absolutely.
Check out our other videos for Christmas. It's still a whiles away, but you want to get those games early for that other person you're buying them for. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Thank you.
Sam Healy. Merry Christmas, folks.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.